We're recording, right?
Mm-hmm. We should be good.
This is it. Okay, great. I'm about 2 shots deep, and we're just ready to get started, right? First podcast. This is gonna be pretty rough. I'm gonna tell you right now. But
what do you mean?
Just like it's not gonna be very good, right? It's not gonna be very good. But the more we get,
it doesn't have to be good.
No, it doesn't have to be good. But the more we work at it, the more we record, the more practice we get at this, the better we're gonna get at it. So, everybody, welcome to the Coffee and Wine podcast. This is my beautiful girlfriend. Why don't you introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Heaven.
Heaven, speak into the mic, Heaven. And I'm Jesse. So, yeah, we'll just go ahead and get started, I guess. Yeah, what do you think?
I think that works.
That
works for me.
It's gonna be fun, I guess. Huh? Nervous laugh.
Can you just
what you got?
The cheers?
Yeah, absolutely. You want to start off with a nice cheers? So the Coffee and Wine podcast. I guess we better be drinking like either coffee or wine, like while we're actually shooting.
It's
right?
wine for now.
Wine for now. Okay. Salud. Let's get started. What do you want to talk about, and what do you want to make this podcast about?
Why are you leaving to me?
I've got a couple topics that I guess we could talk about, but I thought you had some like interview questions or something, right?
No, it's not like interview questions, but maybe some
questions that you were interested in and asking me.
Mm-hmm. You or just in general.
Yeah.
Okay. You ready?
Shoot.
I haven't even asked myself, so it's gonna be pretty interesting.
Really?
The first one.
Okay.
Answer this. I have a lot. I have.
Okay. Ooh, damn.
Like 38.
38 different questions?
You can pick.
Is this going to be a 2-hour podcast?
No. I'm not going to ask like all of 38 questions.
혼자 마시고 있어? 헐. 잔. Alright, what you got?
Okay.
Shoot.
You good?
Yeah, I'm good. Are you good?
I'm great.
Okay.
This one's really good.
Okay.
What advice would you give to a second grade or 7 years old?
To just a random second grader or a 7-year-old?
Okay, let me ask you again.
Do you want to rephrase that question a little bit?
What advice would you give to a second grade or 7 years old? Just like random
kid.
Just random kid. As a grown man.
As a grown man, I'd say get ready. Get ready, because life is gonna be tough. You know what I mean?
What do you mean, like life is tough?
Oh, you want to get into it? It's just like a. This is like a coffee and whiskey podcast topic, no?
You can kind of like,
What advice would I give to a 7-year-old?
Yeah.
I'm gonna pretend like I'm talking to 7-year-old me, I guess, and I'm gonna give him.
Okay, so 7.
Yeah, and I'm pretty rough with myself.
Jesse.
Like I'm pretty.
You're like harsh on yourself?
Honest, pretty harsh with myself. So I would be I would of course tailor my speech patterns and be a little bit more careful with how I talk to a 7-year-old as opposed to maybe like a grown ass adult like you. Okay, so 7-year-old me. Yeah, I would just say, get ready, enjoy the good times. And
as a
7-year-old, yeah. Aww. I think I would, yeah. Enjoy your childhood, enjoy your freedom, because I guess when you get to be an adult, life gets tough, huh? What do you think? There's a lot of challenges to adulthood.
Yeah.
Adulthood kind of sucks, right?
I mean,
no? Is that just me? I feel like it's most people.
Pros and cons.
Pros and cons, okay.
Sometimes you have a good part of your life as a 7 or 30 or 24.
Yeah.
So.
That's true. Okay, can I ask you the same question? What advice would you... Imagine you're talking to 7-year-old Heaven.
7.
She's there in Seoul. She's there in Magu.
Okay.
She's just an elementary school kid. What kind of advice would you give to...
That's a really good question.
Okay. Corazón.
If it's to me, I would just say, do whatever you want as a 7.
Do whatever you want.
And if I can go back to those times, I will do the same.
Yeah.
I'll just be myself. And
Correct. Isn't that what 7-year-olds do anyway?
Huh?
Isn't that what 7-year-olds do anyway?
Right, but I wouldn't say, oh, life is hard or...
Oh, really?
Like, be ready.
Was I too harsh? Was I too realistic towards my 7-year-old self?
No, no, not really.
Okay.
But
I guess I'm pretty unique in that regard, but anyway. Nothing. Anyway.
You can just say nothing.
I can say nothing.
Pretend like you didn't say anything.
But I didn't say anything.
You did.
Okay. All right, Bevin. You got a next question, or do you want me to talk about? You want to talk about some like?
What do you want to talk about?
Some random stuff. I got a question for you.
What?
Kind of, our intended general audience is people who are living both in Korea and America. Mm-hmm. How long have you been living in the United States?
2 years.
2 years? Okay. Where have you lived within the United States?
Columbia, South Carolina, and then...
Is that so?
Dallas, Texas.
그래.
And Evelyn, Texas right now.
Oh, really?
But I'm going to go back to Dallas.
What's your favorite place? Be careful how you answer this. I'm not pressuring you, but I'm also pressuring you, so...
Texas.
Texas?
Mm-hmm.
Which parts in Texas?
I mean, there's a lot of part in South Carolina, but the city that I stayed was so small town.
Columbia?
It was
oh,
a
really?
small town.
Do you know what the population is of Columbia by chance? I actually don't off the top of my head. That's a research topic.
Just campus.
Just campus, okay. Mm-hmm. All right. What do you think are some... What was your biggest culture shock? I'll put it that way. Like when you first came to the United States. Do you want me to answer it first? I also lived in Korea for about 3 years prior to coming back to the United States in like 2021. I spent 2018 to 2021 living in Korea. I experienced like a bunch of different culture shocks, I guess. So first off, being like the overall safety, I guess, like the overall safety of like living within Seoul. Multiple examples of when I'd be studying late at night for whatever reason, whatever topic I was studying at the time, and I'd walk home at like 2 o'clock in the morning, 3 o'clock in the morning, and there'd be like women also just walking out on the street by themselves, like totally safe.
Right.
It seemed like that. Like that's an example of a big culture shock to me. I'm a grown ass man, and I still wouldn't walk around at like 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning in like random, even smaller towns like in Texas that are typically considered safer on the safe side. You didn't experience anything like that when you came to the United States at first?
I mean, I don't think it's just for the U.S.
Okay.
If I go to a foreign country or if it's not like Seoul, I can go outside after like certain time. Because, you never know what happened to you.
Yeah, we'll just be honest. Yeah, it's not nearly as safe as it is within, maybe say like Korea or Japan.
If you live in like Korea, you have more like certain feeling, I should be fine even if I'm by myself,
right.
And people around me are gonna protect me, or at least kind of not let those like bastards hit me or kill me or shoot me. You know what I mean?
Right.
But like here, you can't really like trust anyone.
Yeah.
Even if you don't know that person, but in Seoul, even if you don't know that person, or even if they don't know me, you kind of have a feel. I have them and they have me. Yeah. So I won't be like too protective to anyone. And I think that's also why a lot of people don't really care about like leaving their stuff in cafe or like restaurant.
100%. 100%. Whenever I go to like a cafe there in Seoul, I lived in Shincheon. Anytime I go to Shincheon, like a Shincheon cafe, people would just get up and kind of like leave their things, leave their belongings, leave their laptops, their expensive, $1,000+ computers there, just walk off to the bathroom. They go like take a smoke break outside or go make a phone call outside, and they just leave their stuff there unattended. And I guess the consensus was that they just kind of trusted everybody else around that cafe to like not steal their stuff.
Kind of what I thought when I first came here. Like why people don't really care about like leaving their stuff in Korea.
It'll get stolen.
If I think of myself in Seoul, if I go to the cafe by myself and I have to go to the restroom, you don't want to bring your whole stuff just for the bathroom. You know what I mean?
Right, yeah, it's inconvenient. It's inconvenient to do that.
Because you're going to come back anyway in like 5 minutes.
Right.
And if I think of that, there are people next to my table. Yeah. There are people next to my table.
Yeah.
if someone's gonna come and take my stuff, the other people are gonna be like, oh, that's not yours.
They're going to like be decent citizens and actually stop that individual from like
or
taking
they're gonna come get me, or they're gonna come and find me, or like something's happening here.
Right.
But in here, like, no one really cares.
No.
So I think that's what I thought.
You're on your own out here.
Yes.
Yeah, for sure. I found that that was a big culture shock to me, for sure.
Yeah, right.
For sure. Okay.
But I think it also has. I know you'd not agree on that,
about
but
what?
It has maybe
cynical.
like 1% of pros in terms of like not really care about others.
Okay. Oh,
like in
here?
Korea.
You mean?
Mm-hmm. I mean, in Korea, like, you have to think about like how others think about you a lot.
Right.
And I think that's kind of like downside of like Korean culture, I would say. But still, I know you're gonna say it's still better than those.
Yeah, I think it definitely holds individuals to like a higher standard, I think. And ask anybody, and the consensus kind of is that the world's kind of on fire right now, right? And I think if just from an individual perspective, from like a personal perspective, if we were to hold each other to higher standards, or if we ourselves were to care about a little bit more about what people think about us and our appearance or our dress or our behavior or our manners or anything like that, I think we'd be off for a better society. I'm not saying that from like, like a position of I operate that way and I'm better than everybody else. That's not what I'm saying. But I think if like the West in particular could incorporate a little bit more of like kind of giving a shit about what other people think about them, I think that might be a good thing. And that's nature. That's like human nature. It's in our biology. It's in our DNA. It's historically it's always been an important factor. But I think if we were to kind of get back to that, 좋겠다.
But I think like if you have lived with those for like 30 years, it might be different.
Those standards.
Yes.
Okay.
It's not just standard, but I think they kind of like build your own personality, and it affects a lot. Okay. To your thoughts, ideas, and like your life. Yeah. But I understand that's always better than like you're having your safety issue or your life issue. Right. It's always better. Yeah. But I think.
Oh, 영어 잘해.
In those.
You're good at speaking English, but hard.
Thank you.
No problem.
Thank you. In those cultures, if you have like your own like self-esteem, or if you know like who you are, or if you know like what you're doing, those are not a big deal, I would say. So
fair enough.
Like we said a lot.
Yeah.
For me, I know there was an issue in South Korea, but it never really affected me a lot because I know I wouldn't be affected by those, or I know like who I was, or I know where I wanted to be. Right. So as long as they have their own personality, their own self-esteem, their or trait or preference, I don't think it's gonna affect a lot. I see what you mean. Like personality or traits or your daily life.
I see what you mean. Very interesting. A little bit off topic, but like these mics are gonna pick up like everything that we do, like when we're not speaking, like a sniffle or something like that. It's okay. Okay, how unprofessional of me. I'm sorry. 여러분, 정말
it's a part of our conversation. You know what I mean?
I know what you mean, baby. Okay. Okay. What's your next? You have a next interview question or okay? Shoot, partner.
Let's see.
What you got?
Okay, this one I really wanted to ask you.
Okay. Have you... Okay. Never mind. Just continue.
Okay. Here's a second question.
What you got?
If you could live someone else's life for one day, who? Oh. Have you ever asked this question to yourself?
I'm sure in passing, like a long time ago, I have. Well, there's multiple different answers I could give, I guess. Take your pick. Maybe, I don't know, maybe like a big Hollywood celebrity in like the 90s or the 2000s or something like that. It feels like, I don't know, it's kind of getting harder to be a celebrity these days, I think. Really? But imagine like being Matthew McConaughey in like the 90s or the 2000s or something like that, you know what I mean? Like what an awesome life. I pick him because he's a Texan. We're Texan.
We're Texan.
You're already a Texan, right? That's true. I pick him because, we're kind of from like a similar area within the state of Texas. Obviously, he's a generation older than I am. But just imagine, like, for example, imagine how his life must have been in like the 90s or the 2000s, how unbelievably awesome and badass it must have been. And he seems like a good dude.
Yeah, I like him.
Yeah, he's been a multiple. He's a great actor, fantastic actor.
I actually watched one of his movies last night.
That's right. We did Failure to Launch. Mm-hmm. That was the first time you'd seen that. Chombasso. He was kind of like notorious for playing like the romantic comedy genre, I guess, back in the early to late 2000s, within the 2000s time frame.
I like his rom-com.
Rom-coms. He's probably like the most famous romantic comedy actor. He kind of got like typecast for a little bit, for a while. Being a former actor myself, I've kind of studied his career quite extensively, and he was kind of typecast for a while, just playing those like romantic comedies, and then I think he ended up like continuing to turn those down. He's like, I've done enough of these, until he got more serious roles, and I think in 2011 he did The Lincoln Lawyer. I don't know if you've ever seen that one. We probably need to give that one a watch, but he kind of broke out of that stereotypical like romantic comedy. Kind of silly dude that he kept playing, I guess, for those 2000s. But anyway, just off the top of my head, I'd probably have to think about it a little bit more deeply. But I don't know, Matthew McConaughey.
We can have time.
Yeah,
you can have time.
I'll get back to you on episode 2, and then we'll see if my mind changed. But right now, he seems like a pretty good candidate.
So you're choosing for now.
What about you? If you could like swap lives with anybody,
actually,
anytime
I've asked this question for myself.
Yeah.
Every once in a while.
What you got?
It was always the same person.
Okay.
It was my brother.
Nubia.
It was my brother.
Youngbin?
Every single time that I had to ask this question.
Youngbin 안녕. Hi, bro. What's up, dude? What you got?
I don't know. I feel like he is my best friend.
Yeah.
And I think he's the person that knows me.
Baby, 울지 마. This is episode 1, baby.
No, I'm not gonna cry.
maybe I'm drunk.
No, I'm not crying. I'm not crying.
괜찮아? Okay. Wow, such a touching moment. Episode. God dang, we are opening up, firing on all cylinders. Episode 1.
You know I'm drunk, so.
Are you?
Maybe not.
Okay. 미안해. You typically drink pretty well, so I'm kind of surprised a little bit.
I was gonna say, I think he's the one.
Okay.
I think he's the one who knows me really well.
Yeah.
Sometimes he knows me better than I do. And I wanted to see the world from his perspective, his view, and I wanted to experience his life, like his relationship with his friends, or his relationship with me, myself, or my parents, my mom and dad, and because I think he is like the man. Okay. Hasn't really like cried or like complained or expressed like how hard it was. The stuff like he has been through. Right. So I want to see like how he has been like handling those. Yeah. So.
Just his mindset, like kind of how he thinks.
I want to like try that, but.
Very interesting.
Like this year.
Yeah.
It got changed to you.
Changed to me?
Mm-hmm. I think I actually like answered that question a few days ago when I wrote Jesse. Okay. You. Changed to me? I mean, it might be changed next year, but it was you.
You're going to make me look like a total... Like, I picked somebody else, and then you picked me? So...
Maybe that's how much I love you.
Okay.
And that's
well,
how
I love you too, okay?
That's how much you love.
Why are we being so aggressive about it? That's true, okay. I changed my answer immediately. I'm going to say, Hevin. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I just want to... Kind of similar reason. I want to see, like, how you view the world and how stressful your life is.
Pretty cynical. Yeah, pretty... Yeah.
But you also don't really, like, express, like, how stressful you are, so I want
to... Try not to, that's true.
Yeah, so I want to experience, like, how hard your life is. And
all right.
Try to just understand you. Yeah. Because I think, like, everything... or every issue, every problem is based on like the lack of understanding. Not just for the relationship, but the world issue, world problems. Everything is, or I wouldn't say everything. I would say majority of problems and issues is coming from the lack of understanding.
Yeah, I think that's a fair. Yeah, I think that's a fair statement, and I guess considering the job that I currently hold, I think I've got a pretty I'm literally forced to have a pretty big understanding of like a worldview, like geopolitical view. I'll just say it like from a war-like perspective. Things are getting pretty rough out there. So, every day I think it'd be every day is stressful. I try not to bring that home when I come home and say hello to you or greet you after you wake up at 12 p.m. noon or. That was our media. We'll edit it out and me on there. I'm sorry. Actually, I'm sorry and I love you, but that's funny though, right? Anyway, when I come home and I greet you, I try not to bring a lot of that stuff home with me. We take that, 30 seconds. That 30 seconds we greet each other and I kind of decompress, I guess, and I try not to bring any like the negativity home with me. So hopefully I do a good enough job for that. We're getting really sentimental and really deep on episode 1, and I don't know. I kind of like it.
It's just us.
Okay, it's just us, right? Oh. 우리 스타일이야. 맞다.
And me too. I just try to be as bubbly as I can do,
맞아.
and just try to make it just distract as much as I can.
You do a good job at that. So yeah,
thank you
for sure. This is gonna become like a romantic podcast. None of my friends are gonna watch it. That's for sure. But I like it, so I don't care. Okay. I like it. Okay. Okay. What are some of your favorite recent travels that we've been on? I know I'm busy, and I know we don't have a lot of time off. That's for sure. And when we do have time off, we try and take full advantage of it. But like your favorite places in Texas, what are some of your favorite places? What would you recommend for maybe? I'm pro Texas, baby. I'm Texan. I'm like remember the Alamo.
Texan too.
You're Texan too.
Babe, I'm Texan.
Mother, that's true. Victory or death, right, baby?
I know.
Mother. Okay, because if you had any recommendations for somebody like traveling from Seoul or from Korea, where would you recommend they go if they wanted to visit Texas?
I want to say Carlton, but I wouldn't say Carlton because it's just South Korea.
It's just South Korea? Okay.
Let's say, like,
explain further?
For you,
for somebody who doesn't know,
babe, you, if you go to South Korea, you don't want to go to like Air Force Base.
That's true. I definitely don't want to go to Itaewon,
right?
Because I don't want to hang out with other.
For my friends, I don't bring them to Carlton or like K-Town.
I feel like when I'm in Itaewon, I feel like I'm just in Austin, Texas, is what I feel like. So I didn't travel all the way to.
I haven't really seen a lot of foreigners in Itaewon. Maybe I didn't really go to Itaewon a lot, but. Right. I've really seen a lot of foreigners though.
It's not really my style, I guess. Yeah. Won't get too deep into it, I guess, but like considering the crowd factors, there's been a couple recent events in Korea that we don't have to dive too deeply into, but there's too many people. I feel like there's too many people, and it's too crowded.
Especially for every city in Seoul. It's always crowded.
You think so? But that little city in particular is designated, especially if you go at nighttime,
dense.
For like it's very dense.
Okay.
There's a lot of people going there to like party and drink and club and all that stuff, and that's not really necessarily my style. To get back on topic, I guess like I know what you mean by whenever I went to Itaewon, I just felt like I was kind of like in Austin, Texas. I didn't feel like I was in Korea. So maybe it's the same for you, like when you're going around like some city in Texas.
You don't want to go to eat kimchi-bokkeumbap in the U.S. You don't want to do that. You can literally do like in your hometown, or you can have your like mom's kimchi-bokkeumbap.
Right.
You don't want to do that. So
typically, it's not as. Do you think? Now I've had some good Korean food in Carrollton.
I would say pretty much the same.
Pretty much the same.
Yeah,
pretty much. Damn, that's pretty impressive.
The same.
Okay.
The same. Because it's Korean.
Yeah.
It's the same Korean. Cook the
Fair
same,
enough.
Same food.
Yeah.
The same recipe.
Right.
So.
I got you. I'm not okay. I'd give you cheers, but I'm an alcoholic and I already drank all my wine, so. 미안해. 어때?
좋아.
How you feeling?
I'm good. I have 30 question.
You have another question? All right. Shoot, partner. Do you know we're 40 minutes into this thing already?
What?
That's crazy. We've been recording for 40 minutes.
I can do like for like 24 hours.
Same thing.
Okay.
Me too.
Third question.
What you got?
What is the best compliment you have heard? Best compliment you have heard.
Best compliment I've heard? 누구한테서?
From anyone.
From anybody?
Good question, huh?
Damn good question. So deep.
I'm telling you, this kind of questions are my favorite question that I love to ask to myself, or to my people, or to the people that I love. And I kind of do this like once in a year to kind of remind myself. Like,
we've talked about this before. You do this maybe like every December, like every end of the year. You like write
like November. So I kind of have a list.
Okay.
To ask myself every once in a year, and you can kind of look back your answers a year ago, and you can see how different the answer is, and that's kind of interesting. I really like it.
Okay, very interesting. First off, second off, on the spot, I'm not sure if I could give you a genuine. I hate to be that guy. I probably had to sit and think about like some of the things that people have told me. I didn't like bookmark them as I heard.
I have a question.
Yes,
no, not question.
A different question.
I actually.
Okay.
You know, you have the type of like sit-down answers. 37 different sit-down answers you owe me.
37 different sit-down answers. We use that number a lot, but I owe you some answers, I guess?
Yes.
Or...
Every time I ask you like deep question out of nowhere, you be like, oh, Hebina, I'm sorry, but I really need to sit down and think about it. You owe me that type of 37 different answers. But you didn't get back to me yet.
But I need to write them down whenever you ask me that. But like deep questions like that, I don't just want to give. It'd be disrespectful to you and to anybody else who asked me to be like,
I know. I respect that. I appreciate that.
Right. I got to sit down and genuinely think about it. I don't want to give any rushed answers.
So when are you going to do that? I'm waiting for you for like 37 weeks.
We'll get to it eventually.
Okay.
Like, you know.
Okay.
All right. Let me ask you the same question. I hate to be a copycat, but sometimes I'm a copycat. But that's all. What's been the biggest compliment, or the biggest, most impactful compliment that somebody has given to you over the years? Who'd it come from? When and where was it?
The one thing that I can think of right now are some compliments that I've heard from. One is my friends.
Okay. Or do you want to drop their name on this podcast?
I can do that.
Okay. Give them a shout out.
Okay. The one is. No, I don't want to cry.
Baby, take two. Second time crying?
No, I'm good.
I love you.
I love you too.
Hey, everything's okay.
I know.
Okay.
The first thing.
Yeah.
I want to think of is Hison.
Okay.
I think she wrote me a letter.
Now, can you explain?
Okay, so she is one of my best friends.
Yes.
We have played soccer together for, I don't know, like 12 plus years.
Okay.
And I've been with her for 4 years for the college.
Okay.
But we've known each other for 12 plus years.
Copy.
So we literally knows everything about each other.
Right.
And yeah, I think we write a letter to each other a lot. And every Happy New Year, I wrote her a letter. And she kind of like became a copycat. She likes me.
Good.
And
cool.
And yeah, she wrote me a letter before I came to the US, I would say. And there was one thing that really came to my mind.
Okay.
She said, the fact that I chose Korea University for my college so that I could meet you is the best thing that I did in my entire life.
Okay.
And that was so touching.
You had known her prior to entering
the college, yes, but we were.
Korea 대학?
Yes, but we became like the best friend when we entered
university.
College.
Okay,
yes.
okay.
We literally spent like 24/7
together. Yeah.
Together for 4 years, and that's kind of like.
Kind of jealous.
my favorite maybe it's not compliment, but favorite quote or favorite
sentimental thing that somebody has told you.
Yes, right. But if it comes to compliments, that I can think of like 2 or 3 different people.
Yes, ma'am.
Those are my like 동생들, my younger sisters that I played soccer together.
Yeah.
And out of nowhere, they'll like text me. I think I told you like the other day. They text me in the middle of night.
Right.
Or like 3 a.m.
Right.
Oh, like I just wanted to let you know how thankful I am or how grateful for you that you did this to me, or when I was in this certain situation, or when you say this to me when I was suffering from this.
Right.
That literally gives me the purpose of my life.
Okay.
And that's what brings me joy. And the fact that I can be helpful to each other, or at least I can kind of like guide them to certain paths that I didn't have when I was at that position. So I think that makes me really like happy and want to be a better person, a nice person.
I'll just brag on you a little bit. I think most people who interact with you have typically positive things to say about you, I guess, and like that overall general positive, bubbly attitude, I think, is pretty infectious. And I think if more people across the world were like that, I think the world would be a better place. And I know I'm not going to try and get too cheesy because we've done.
We literally said this last night.
That's true.
Was it 2 days
maybe
ago?
Maybe a couple nights ago, something like that. But just to kind of wrap that up, I can definitely see how infectious, positive attitude kind of like goes a long way, and I'm sure she's very appreciative of you continuing and further blossoming your relationship. I guess whenever you guys were at university, and that's it's pretty touching, and I can see why she thinks that you're pretty fun to be around. So, but that's it. I don't want to say too many nice things, but this is not a romance podcast. You understand? Maybe it can be depending on the episode. So anyway, I think that's pretty impactful, and thank you for sharing.
Of course.
Do you think you'll cry for a third time on this podcast, Anime?
No, I won't.
No? Okay. You're doing good. Everything's okay.
Thank you.
All right, no problem. All right. If you had any advice from somebody who wanted to travel to the United States from Korea, what would be your number one topic of advice to give to them, and what would you tell them to watch out for, or to like maximize their time?
Okay.
Like how should they focus their efforts and their time in order to make their experiences here in America the best possible? Okay, what you got?
The one thing that I could think of right now is you have to ask yourself, is that really what you want? Or is that what your parents want?
Like traveling?
Oh, do you mean like traveling or like studying abroad?
Traveling, studying abroad, I guess it could be like a general question.
So for like studying abroad, it's not just for like 2 weeks. So
that's true.
I would tell them, you need to like ask yourself if it's what you want or what your parents want you to do. Because if it's what your parents or what your people want you to do, you're going to end up staying or spend majority of time with another Korean in the United States,
you think
which
so?
Makes no sense.
Okay, so
you can literally save those money and stay in Korea and stay with your parents and have fun. You don't have to worry about all the nonsense here.
Right.
But if that's what you want, I would say just don't be shy and just be confident.
That's true. We kind of prefaced this already, but going back to a slightly earlier conversation that we had, you didn't come to the United States to like re-experience Korea, and I didn't travel to Korea to like re-experience the United States, if that makes sense.
You want to like experience new culture. You want to meet new people.
That's right.
You want to see new world.
I see often a lot of times I wouldn't say my personal issues, but a lot of the things I say, when somebody travels abroad, typically when I see foreigners in Korea, I see them hanging out with basically a bunch of other foreigners, or maybe they'll go to a bar with, a lot of other foreigners, and they don't really spend a lot of time with like the locals of the country that they're living in. I think assimilation is kind of a big issue these days. We can get into that some other time. But I also saw here in the United States when I saw like Korean exchange students, I guess when I was in university, and just people traveling from Korea as well. I think if you are a foreigner traveling to any different country, I would encourage you all to truly see if you could integrate so much as you can, or associate with the locals there, and really, really, really try to assimilate to the culture as much as you can, whether it be for that 2 weeks that you're traveling there, not even five months or 5 years. really try and experience the culture and really try and integrate with
this
the
is like how we
locals.
can maximize your trip or like
without a doubt.
time in the starting abroad.
Without a doubt, yeah. In fact, I know a lot of people. I know a lot of friends that have traveled to America, being from Korea. Them being from Korea, and they said, "Okay, I wish we would have had like more opportunities to like interact with Americans." Or same thing if they travel to Europe or Brazil or other places in it. Yeah, exactly. Right, yeah, right. You can. The countries are interchangeable, right. But I think a lot of people kind of struggle with that. I guess to really.
I think it's kind of like nature of like human. You want to be like feel comfortable.
That's
you
true.
don't want to be like scared, or you don't want to feel like uncomfortable, or you don't want to be like, oh, like what should I do?
100%.
Or who I should trust.
100%.
But at the same time, if you chose to do starting abroad, that's what you have to think of.
Yeah.
That's what you have to like take risk of.
Absolutely. Risk. You pretty much nailed it. Yeah, I think. Just breaking outside your comfort zone in like in many different ways. This can kind of apply to different areas in life, but really breaking out of your comfort zone and truly experiencing. I hear a lot of the same things from military members who have like been stationed abroad. Say for example in Korea, they'll be stationed in Osan or Kunsan, and they say, "Oh yeah, I was in Korea for a year or two, and I really liked that place." And I'll ask them like, "Oh, what'd you do?" And they're like, "Oh, I really had some fun places. I had some fun times." Off base, and I was like, "Well, who'd you spend your time with?" And they'll say, "Oh yeah, I spent my time with Tech Sergeant so and so, and then like Staff Sergeant this guy and this guy." And I was like, "Oh, so you only spent your time with like other military members?
That's so different.
You didn't really interact with the locals or anything like that. There, you just hung out with a bunch of other Americans. So you didn't really experience different foreign culture. That kind of bothers me, I guess, when I hear it from like a military perspective. But to digress. You're exactly right. I think like fully integrating yourself, I think is a huge positive. I think you've done a pretty good job of that.
Right. That's like what I'm really like proud of myself. Yeah. I haven't really like felt I want to go back or. I mean, I'm not saying I don't miss that place, but I enjoy it and. I think I've told my friends the other day.
Yeah.
Or to my families. These 2 years were much worth it than 22 years prior to this.
22 years?
I've learned a lot. I've experienced a lot. Yeah. I've became a better and maybe more like grown woman.
Okay.
For these 2 years than the last 22 years.
Is that so? So to summarize, you think you've done more growing up in the last 2 years in the United States than you have?
But I don't think it's just because like starting abroad or like living in the US. But at the same time, it's my first time living by myself, other than the dorm in the college.
Right.
And it was my first time, literally like living far away from my families and friends.
Right.
So it was only me. Had to take care of like the apartment, or the car, or like insurance, or everything.
Right.
So it kind of like gave me an opportunity to be a better person or a grown woman or as an adult. So it was hard, but I made it. So
100%. I think you've done a fantastic job, and I can second that. I think I spent 3 years there in Seoul, living there in Seoul, and 100% the best times of my life. That's for sure. Barring a few, a couple exceptions, maybe the past 6 months or so. However. I think such a unique experience. I think to grow and to really kind of, I hate to sound real cliche about it, but to kind of like find yourself traveling abroad. I think really opened my eyes to a bunch of different things, like how people operate in different countries, and I'm not so narrow-minded as far as like thinking just like an American. I like to think of myself as a pretty worldly individual, not to brag, but unbelievably important time in my life, and I can totally second everything that you just said. So yeah.
Me too.
Okay, so it cut out on us. The recording cut out on us. I guess that that naturally tells us that we need to hurry our asses up, huh?
I'm gonna have extra work tomorrow.
Which
I like.
미안하지만 we're both going to be a little bit busy, so
I like that. It's okay.
I'm sorry.
It's okay.
You're the producer, and that's why you get paid the big bucks. So
Right.
Okay. You got any closing statements, Bebe? Or 아니면 do you want to just like kind of wrap up, or do you have anything?
Kind of just wrap up.
Kind of just wrap up. Okay. Where can everybody reach us? They can reach us on Instagram.
Coffee and wine. Was it coffeewine.pod? Or I bet.
Let's give them accurate information. Okay, this is gonna be on Insta.
Coffeewine.pod.
Coffeewine.pod. Real simple.
Yes.
All right. And you guys give us a follow if you found this conversation entertaining or informative. Just let us know, and we'll get better. I promise. Set'll get better. Like
I'll get better.
Us as podcasters will get better.
Yes.
And we'll just get better.
Also,
just
as a person, we're gonna be a better person.
Just like people, get better every day. 1% better every day. All right.
Never stop fighting.
Never stop fighting.
Great teamwork.
Yep. Remember the Alamo.
Victory or death.
Victory or death, baby. 나 여러분. 안녕. Bye.
Bye.